Have you ever wondered why some people seem to change their life in just a few minutes, while others spend years, sometimes even decades, struggling and never finding the key? Think about it. One small decision, one moment of clarity, one simple story can flip your entire perspective, and once that happens, you will never see yourself, your family, or your dreams the same way again. Today, in the next few minutes, I will share with you a story. Not just a story for entertainment, not just a story for practicing English, but a story that carries a truth, a seed of wisdom that can unlock something deep inside you. And when you unlock it, you may finally understand the key to changing your life. Imagine this: you're scrolling through your phone late at night and you see friends buying new houses, graduating from top schools, getting promotions, starting businesses. Then you look at yourself, same job, same routine, same worries, and that little voice in your head whispers, "You're not good enough, you're behind, look at them, look at you." If you've ever felt this way, you are not alone. In fact, almost everyone at some point falls into this trap. But here's the truth: comparison is the thief of joy. It blinds you from your own journey. It makes you forget your own strength, your own story, your own destiny. Now listen carefully. The story I'm about to tell you is simple. It's about an ordinary young man, just like you, just like me, who thought he was lost, thought he was behind everyone else. But in just 5 minutes, a single conversation changed the direction of his entire life. This isn't magic, this isn't luck, this is perspective, and perspective is powerful, because when you change the way you see yourself, you change the way you act. When you change the way you act, you change your habits, and when you change your habits, you change your destiny. So here's my invitation to you: stay with me. Listen to this story not just with your ears, but with your heart. Repeat the English sentences if you want to practice. Reflect on the message if you want to grow, because by the end you might discover that the key to transforming your life has always been in your hands, waiting for you to notice it. This is the key to changing your life in 5 minutes. Every generation faces its own struggles, but in our time, one of the heaviest burdens is comparison. We live in an age where the highlight of everyone's life is displayed on a screen, and the more we scroll, the more we feel like we are falling behind. You wake up, check your phone, and before you even start your day, you are already bombarded with reminders of where you are not. Someone bought a new car, someone else started a company. Another friend posted pictures of a perfect family vacation. You glance at your own reflection in the mirror and quietly sigh. For many young Asian Americans, especially those who grew up in households that value education, success, and family honor, this feeling is even sharper. Maybe you were raised hearing words like, "Work harder, don't waste your time, make us proud." Perhaps your parents sacrificed everything to move here, chasing the American dream. And you carry not only your own expectations, but the expectations of your entire family on your shoulders. And when you don't meet them, or when it feels like you're too slow, you start to believe you are failing. This is the hidden pressure that eats away at so many. You don't talk about it at family dinners. You smile when relatives ask about your job or your grades, but inside you are carrying storms of doubt. You begin to compare yourself not just with strangers on the internet, but with cousins, classmates, co-workers. You see someone with higher grades, a better salary, a bigger house, and you ask yourself, why not me? What is wrong with me? And with every unanswered question, the gap between who you are and who you think you should be seems wider. What you don't realize is that comparison is a race that never ends. There will always be someone richer, smarter, more beautiful, more successful. Even the people you envy are looking at others and feeling the same way. It's a cycle with no finish line, a trap that drains your energy and blinds you to your own gifts. But here's the deeper issue. Comparison doesn't just steal your happiness, it shapes your identity. Instead of discovering who you really are, you build a version of yourself that is only a reaction to others. You don't chase your own dreams, you chase the shadows of other people's dreams. And in doing so, you risk forgetting the most important truth. Your journey is unique, and no one can walk it for you. Think of it this way: when a seed is planted, it doesn't compare itself with the tree beside it. It doesn't say, "That tree is taller, that flower is brighter." It simply grows in its own time, in its own rhythm. The oak tree takes decades to stand strong, while the bamboo waits years underground before shooting up almost overnight. Both are beautiful, both are valuable, but in different ways. Humans, unfortunately, forget this. We measure ourselves with rulers that were never made for us. We look at someone else's chapter 20 and feel like failures in our chapter 2. We forget that success is not a straight line, but a path full of curves, delays, and moments of stillness. And yet hidden inside those moments is the chance for growth. For many young Asian Americans, the pressure to achieve, to compare, to prove worth has become so normal that they no longer notice it. They think stress is just part of life. They think self-doubt is a natural companion. But deep down, a voice whispers that there must be another way, a different path, a lighter key that unlocks freedom from this invisible prison. And that is why stories matter. Stories allow us to see ourselves through another lens. They remind us that the burdens we carry are shared by many, and they offer us new ways of understanding our struggles. The story I am about to tell you is not about celebrities or billionaires. It is not about people who had everything handed to them. It is about someone ordinary, someone who felt small, someone who believed he was behind, until a single moment opened his eyes. It is a story that will show you that life can shift not with wealth or luck, but with clarity and courage. And once you hear it, you may begin to see that your comparisons, your doubts, your fears, they are not the end of the road, but the very beginning of a new chapter. David was 24 years old when he first felt like his life was stuck in a loop. He had graduated from a decent university, nothing elite, but respectable enough. His parents, immigrants who had left everything behind in Guangdong to build a life in California, had worked endless hours in their small restaurant, saving every dollar so their only son could have a future better than theirs. On paper, David was doing fine. He had a stable job in an office. He paid his bills, and he was on the path his parents always wished for him. But in his heart, he felt trapped. Every day he opened social media and saw friends who were doing more, becoming more, living more. His cousin had just been admitted to medical school, his old roommate had launched a startup, and even his younger neighbor had already bought a car nicer than his. Meanwhile, David sat in traffic each morning, going to a job that felt meaningless. Counting the hours until 5 o'clock, he thought, is this it? Is this what I worked for? Is this the dream my parents sacrificed everything to give me? These questions haunted him, yet he never spoke them aloud. At family gatherings, he forced a smile, nodded politely when uncles asked about his career, and laughed along with jokes about when he would finally buy a house. But inside, he carried a heavy silence. One evening, after a particularly hard day at work, when his boss scolded him for a mistake that wasn't even his fault, David drove aimlessly through the city. Neon lights blurred past his windshield, and he felt smaller with every block. Without thinking, he parked near Chinatown, the place where his parents first worked when they came to America. He walked down the crowded streets, the smell of roasted duck and steamed buns in the air. The voices of vendors calling out in Cantonese and Mandarin. And then, as if led by something invisible, he entered a small tea shop tucked between two larger stores. The shop was quiet, dimly lit, with shelves of old teapots and the faint aroma of jasmine in the air. Behind the counter sat an old man, his hair silver, his eyes calm but sharp, like someone who had seen the storms of life and learned to smile through them. David ordered tea without much thought. Just wanting a place to sit, the old man poured it carefully, sliding the cup across the wooden counter, and then asked in a voice soft but steady, "Why do you look so heavy, young man?" David blinked, surprised. He hadn't said a word about his feelings, yet somehow the old man saw through him. "I'm fine," David lied. The old man shook his head gently. "Your shoulders say otherwise." Something in the man's tone broke through David's wall of silence. He found himself confessing, the comparisons, the endless pressure, the feeling of never being enough. He spoke of his parents' sacrifices, of his own shame for not achieving more, of nights spent awake wondering if he was wasting his life. The old man listened without interrupting, his eyes steady, his hands folded. When David finished, there was a long pause. Then the old man asked, "Do you know how bamboo grows?" David frowned, confused. "Bamboo?" The old man nodded. "Yes, for years after you plant bamboo, nothing seems to happen. You water it, you care for it, but above the ground it looks like nothing is growing. People laugh at you, they say you're wasting your time, but underground, the bamboo is building roots, strong and deep, and then in one single season it shoots up faster than any other plant, growing feet in just days. If you judged the bamboo in its first years, you would think it was weak, useless, but its strength was always there, hidden." He leaned closer. "You, David, are bamboo. Right now you cannot see your growth because it is beneath the surface. You compare yourself to trees that sprout quickly. But you forget that your roots are still being built. Do not rush, do not compare. Your time will come, and when it does, you will rise taller than you ever imagined. David stared at him, his chest tightening, his eyes burning. Something in those words pierced through the fog of doubt that had clouded him for years. But what if I never grow? What if I stay stuck forever? He whispered. The old man smiled, a smile both kind and firm. Then at least you will have lived watering your soul instead of abandoning it. But I tell you, no seed that is nurtured stays buried forever. Those words lingered in David's mind like a flame in the dark. They were simple, but they felt like truth. For the first time in years, he felt a strange lightness. He sipped the tea, its warmth spreading through his chest, and realized that perhaps his life was not behind schedule at all. Perhaps he was exactly where he needed to be. That night, as he left the shop, the neon lights seemed less harsh, the city less suffocating. He still had the same job, the same worries, the same unanswered questions. But something inside him had shifted. He no longer saw himself as broken or behind. He saw himself as bamboo, quietly growing roots. In the weeks that followed, David began to change small things. He woke up earlier, not to scroll through his phone, but to journal his thoughts. He started exercising, not to look like anyone else, but to feel strong in his own skin. He practiced English storytelling, recording his voice, listening back. Improving not because he needed to be perfect, but because he wanted to grow. His co-workers noticed his energy shifting. His parents noticed his calm confidence at family dinners. Slowly, the pressure of comparison faded, replaced by a quiet determination. And though nothing dramatic happened overnight, David knew he had found something precious: perspective. Weeks turned into months, and though David's external life didn't look radically different, inside he was becoming someone new. But transformation is never smooth. There were days when he woke up and still felt the weight of comparison pressing down, days when a friend's promotion or a cousin's new house would trigger that familiar voice whispering, "You're not enough." Yet this time, instead of drowning in it, he paused and remembered the bamboo. He remembered that growth doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it hides in patience, in persistence, in silence. And slowly he began to see the lesson clearly. The true key to changing his life was not about racing ahead of others, not about reaching society's finish line, but about aligning with his own path and watering his own roots. This realization was like a seed of calm growing in his heart. He started noticing the small victories he used to ignore. Finishing a book he had put off for months, cooking dinner for his parents and seeing them smile, speaking up once in a meeting where he used to stay silent. These moments were not glamorous, they were not Instagram-worthy, but they were his, and they built a foundation no one else could see. One night, while walking home under the city lights, David whispered to himself, "I am not late, I am not behind, I am becoming." And in that quiet affirmation, he felt a freedom he had never known. The more he leaned into this truth, the more doors began to open, not because luck suddenly favored him, but because his perspective shifted. Where he once saw obstacles, he now saw training grounds. Where he once saw failures, he now saw lessons. Where he once saw delays, he now saw preparation. He realized that the real prison had never been his circumstances, it had been his mind. The old man's words echoed. No seed that is nurtured stays buried forever. This became his mantra. Whenever doubt returned, he repeated it like a shield. In time, David noticed something extraordinary. The less he compared, the more he connected. He listened more deeply to his coworkers instead of silently competing. He celebrated his cousin's success without feeling smaller. He even shared his struggles openly with a close friend and was surprised to learn that friend carried the same insecurities. Comparison had isolated him, perspective now connected him, and connection, he discovered, was a greater strength than competition. The key then was not to erase ambition, but to redirect it. Ambition rooted in comparison will always make you chase someone else's life, but ambition rooted in clarity will push you to grow into your truest self. David began setting goals not because he wanted to prove anything, but because he wanted to honor who he was becoming. He enrolled in a night class not to outshine others, but to sharpen his own skills. He saved money not to buy what others had, but to create choices for his future. These small acts, fueled by clarity instead of insecurity, created momentum, and though nothing exploded overnight, the trajectory of his life was bending upward. One evening, months after his first visit, David returned to the tea shop. The old man was there, as calm as ever. David bowed slightly in gratitude and said, "You were right, I was bamboo." The old man chuckled, pouring him another cup of jasmine tea. "No. My boy, you are still bamboo, and you always will be. The lesson is not to grow once and stop, but to keep growing, rooted deeply, reaching higher with every season." David smiled, the weight gone from his shoulders. For the first time, he truly believed it. The real key to changing his life had been with him all along: perspective. By choosing to see his journey as his own, by refusing to let comparison dictate his worth. By embracing the slow but steady growth of his roots, he had unlocked a door that no external achievement could ever open. That night, walking back into the noise of the city, David realized that nothing around him had changed, yet everything had, because the world outside may never stop comparing, but the power inside him to choose how to see, how to act, how to grow was unshakable. And that is the lesson he carried forward. Life doesn't transform in a single miracle moment. It transforms in perspective, in the courage to water your roots, and in the patience to trust your time. And once you understand this, you too hold the same key, the key that can change your life in just 5 minutes of truth. Life is not a race where you must cross the finish line before anyone else. Life is a journey where every step matters only if it is yours. David's story reminds us of something so simple yet so easy to forget. The key to transformation is not hidden in the future, not waiting in the hands of others, but already within you. It lies in the way you choose to see, in the courage to stop comparing, and in the patience to grow in your own season. Maybe you are at the beginning of your journey. Maybe you feel like nothing is moving, like you are falling behind. Or maybe you are in the middle, tired and wondering if your effort even matters. Wherever you are, remember the bamboo. Remember that roots grow in silence, that strength is built in the unseen, and that no seed nurtured with care stays buried forever. You don't need to wait for the world to change before you change. You don't need permission to begin. The door to your transformation is already unlocked. It only asks that you walk through it. So let this be your moment, your 5 minutes of clarity. Take a breath. Look at your life not with the eyes of comparison, but with the eyes of growth. And ask yourself not, why am I not there yet? But what can I water today so I can grow tomorrow? That question is the true key. Because once you change your perspective, your actions follow. Once your actions shift, your habits are reshaped, and when your habits change, your destiny is rewritten. The world around you may still shout for you to run faster, to catch up, to prove yourself. But the truth is you have nothing to prove. You only have something to become, and that becoming is yours alone. So carry this story with you. Let it remind you in moments of doubt that you are not late, you are not less, you are simply becoming. And when you trust that, life will unfold in ways you never imagined. If this story touched your heart, if it sparked even a small light inside you, then don't let it fade. Hold on to it, share it, let it grow. And if you want to continue this journey of learning, of practicing English while discovering life-changing lessons, stay with us. Subscribe, join this community, and together we will keep finding the keys that unlock not just language, but life itself. Because sometimes one story, one lesson, one perspective can change everything. And for you, that change can begin today in just 5 minutes.